Hey everyone, Chaosville here, and today's episode is going to be about, well, making some changes to the concrete factory. That's right, I'm going to be updating my concrete factory. Now, what I mean by this is basically, I'm going to improve the speed at which I can farm concrete. As you can see, I've already taken out the old structure. It's going to utilize the same amount of pistons, a little bit more redstone, dust, and a lot of wool blocks and stuff. Oh, I did forget something. I did forget to replace a wood block right there. I took out all the dirt that was underneath all the diorite structure, so that way I could put wood floor in here, and then 2 blocks above this wood floor will be a blast chamber, where we'll have a TNT duper destroying concrete. And basically, this is the exact same setup as Mumbo Jumbo used in Season 6 of the Hermitcraft seasons. But before that, I'm going to have to farm some more trees, because I need a lot more wood to make some more chests, so we can make a lot more hoppers. But basically, there's only 2 things missing. That's the hoppers and some coral. There's a coral fan I have to get. I think it's a dead bubble coral fan I have to get. The other thing I'm going to work on changing in this episode is I want to add a bubble column with basically a walkway or a diving board, if you will, so that I can dive down on top of the trees in this tree farm. It'll make it a little bit easier, and I won't have to depend so much on the fireworks to fly down or anything on top of the trees, which I'm having to do right now because I have to fly up with the fireworks, get up on top of the trees, and then farm them down. Now, this beacon is still I'm gonna keep this beacon as a haste 2 beacon because I obviously need haste 2 to farm trees faster. I won't need it for the concrete factory anymore. It's not going to be of any use because we'll be using a TNT duper in there. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this new concrete factory with the TNT duper and record myself doing it, but I'll do a voiceover on it because I'm just going to do a speed up on it, so that way you guys can see that I'm building it and that basically I built it in survival, and also it's just something for me to do. But I'll also build this tower. I probably won't build the tower and then speed it up, because that right there, well, actually I'll have to, because it's going to be all trapdoors. I might not even show that, just because it's ridiculously slow going, and you have to use like the scaffolding to climb all the way up the tower to place the trapdoors all the way up. It's like 30, I think I go 36 to 38 blocks up in the air, I think, if I remember right, because the trees can go up to 32 blocks high, so yeah, I'll have to double check my math on that before I even begin on that. But this is going to be several days worth of work in basically one episode, per usual. So bear with me. But first things first, let's show off the builds or designs of things I have planned. Besides that and the concrete farm, I also have the bee farm. Okay, here we are in the world download that Mumbo Jumbo was nice enough to share on his video on this concrete breaker, is what he calls it. I just added some to the design. I added some more obsidian around it so I could put it inside of a building, so that way it protects the wood floor, because I found out that that TNT would sometimes destroy something down below there, so I just went ahead and expanded out the obsidian, and I'll worry about the light on this thing later. But basically it's going to be 2 blocks off the floor. I might put some blocks underneath of it on the corners to act like they're holding it up or something, but we'll get there. And this right here, it was added in, the iron blocks. I'll probably change them to stairs and then have something up here like a walkway of some kind up here. So this is not exactly the final build I'll have, but I did this to measure exactly how much height I need, and obviously this is the build. But I definitely recommend checking out his video on this, and if you're interested in it, download the world. Alright, last thing before we get over back to the concrete building, the concrete breaker building. This is my building world. I've made this specifically for me and my brother to design things in, and because we can use LAN to join each other's worlds here. This is the honey farm I plan on building. It's going to be a little bit smaller. So basically, right where the back of this is, I'm going to cut it off, and then I'll just put flowers up close to the front, and I'll probably cut this off a little bit shorter up front too. I just made it larger just because I wanted to have this, and it's going to be wide open in this world, but not in my realm. I'm going to definitely close that in, the redstone in with something to make it look like it's a building and it really belongs. The other thing is, this right here is the field design I came up with. So you can plant any crop, so like potatoes, carrots, wheat, beets in here. Once they're fully grown, all you got to do is pull this lever and it automatically harvests the crops and seeds and all that stuff for you, dumping it off down here into all these hoppers right here, and goes into this chest. So then all you got to do is pull it all out of this chest. You can even pull your seeds out and everything and all that. And this right here is your walkway to get up there. You got little trap doors here to knock down so you can get in there and plant your crops. So this build right here is going to go in probably the underwater base that my brother and I are planning on designing. We're going to design a huge, basically huge underwater globe system of a base under the water. It's a plan for the future. We haven't got that far yet with it, but hopefully it'll be in the works before 1.16, just before 1.16, or right after 1.16 comes out. But yeah, this is definitely going to be the honey farm that I build. As a matter of fact, let's go in there and see. It should be working now. It's been in here for a couple of in-game days. Well, it hasn't got full of honey yet. That makes sense, because they've only been in and out like once or twice today. Alright, at any rate, let's get back to my realm and start building this concrete breaker. Okay, so this is the time lapse, and I apologize, but I mess up quite a bit. And this final build from this time lapse is actually not the build that I'm going to be using. Because for the life of me, I couldn't figure out the TNT duper machine, and I kept setting off the TNT and blowing up my pistons, so I finally gave up on it and was going to save it for later. And I come to find out I had the machine facing, I guess it has to face a certain direction. I haven't really tested to see if north and south would work, but apparently it does, because in my creation realm when I went to test it, it does work that way too. So I completely ignored that. I didn't ignore that for the secondary attempt of building this, because as you'll see, the final edition of this is actually going to be built. I'm just going to turn the entire build to where it's facing from north to south, so that way the minecart is working properly with east to west. But anyway, this right here that I'm working on right now is where all the concrete will be forced down by pistons, and this is basically the blast chamber. It's essentially what it is. It's a blast chamber. You got water there to take the blasted concrete, the finalized concrete, and shove it into the hoppers at the end. And basically the obsidian is used to prevent the TNT from destroying that area, which obviously it's not going to hurt water any, so it doesn't matter what type of block you use underneath the water. And that's the great thing about TNT in Minecraft. I love the fact that no matter what, it always drops the block that it destroys, unlike creepers. So there is that. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to get the dirt there. Okay, so I basically made a dirt platform, 12 by 13 platform of dirt, so I could start on the wool for the circuitry. And that's a trick I learned from Mumbo Jumbo from the Hermitcraft server. Basically, he likes to use wool for all his circuits, that way he doesn't get them mixed up, and that's actually a brilliant idea. It helps me tremendously when I'm trying to do different circuits That way I don't get confused. So like if I have two circuits that are really close to each other, if I'm using yellow and blue wool, I can separate and differentiate the circuits that I'm trying to make for my redstone contraptions. So it's a very, very helpful tip that he gave. This first setup is going to be the 5. Well, it's actually 10 pistons, but it's 5 sticky pistons with 5 regular pistons on top. These will be what forces the concrete down into the blast chamber. This is actually 13 blocks above the water. Well, the 13th block would be shoved into the water, basically, is what would happen if you were to do that. And, well, basically, these are 0-tick pistons, so I don't know if these will work in the future. We'll just have to see what happens. This furnace part here, this is actually a brilliant setup. You basically just have to stuff 58 of a certain item in each furnace, and that helps to set off the signal to those pistons. And as you can tell, I'm putting the pistons in the wrong spot. Like I told you, I'm going to mess up a lot in this. This is the first time I've built basically an automatic concrete machine where it's harvesting the concrete for me automatically. I don't have to do any mining, which is brilliant. There is another version of this that I actually want to build next time, which actually harvests more concrete and actually uses a legitimate TNT dispenser instead of a TNT duper, which to me would actually make more sense considering you. If you consider that cheating, I'd rather do it that way, right? So this is the first time I set up the pistons right. And then I start to set up the circuitry. The redstone. And just again, this is the design that Mumbo Jumbo used in Season 6 from the Hermitcraft server. He does have a world download with this machine in it. So I just didn't know exactly how to build this TNT duper. As you'll see, I actually mess it up, and I'll explain it in better detail at the end of this time lapse, actually. But I was thinking that how it was set up in the world was how he actually set it up, but you see there, I set off the TNT. So I had to rebuild all of that. All my furnaces and everything there got destroyed. So I had to rebuild that. That was my fault. I should have done more research before going off and trying to continually build this thing. So I was showing there that I was letting the coral die. You just have to wait for a few, like 10 seconds I think, and then it finally dies. So I go on and continue with the build. I actually put this too close to the left, I think, if I remember right. But yeah, I kept continuously keep destroying my pistons and stuff on this, so I finally just gave up on the duper and just moved on to this portion of the build. But I had to look up a video just to see how the duper was actually made, because it's not really explained too well in Mumbo's video, which I can't blame him for not. He should just expect us to know. I mean, that's totally my fault. I should have done more research before trying to build it anyway, so. And this is the piston setup for the concrete. I actually put it too low. It has to go up higher than that. As you'll see, I figured that out a little bit after I've already got it up there. So here I am actually getting it to the right height. Finishing up the redstone circuit, redstone torch. And now I'm building the water source, which will be where the concrete is made. That's probably the simplest thing of the whole project is this right here. It's the one thing I can do that I won't mess up, right? Alright, and then the next circuit is the blue wool, which is circuitry. I have to count it out just to make sure I'm doing it right. Meanwhile, the whole time I'm doing this, I'm actually looking at pictures I took of the one in the world share file that Mumbo gave to everyone. Basically, this is the beginning of the circuitry where the power switch will be at for the piston setup here to push into push the TNT and then drop the TNT. It's a continuous setup there that these two circuits will connect, the blue and the green. The green is basically the holder for the TNT when it's lit. Holds it just long enough for when it drops it. It drops in time to harvest down below. As you'll see, I actually messed this circuitry up a little bit. I get it backwards a little bit, but I go back through towards the end of this time lapse and fix it, correct it, if you will. Basically, what I messed up on the duper was basically the L shape. The L shape that's on the furnaces has to be on the very first furnace there towards the end, and then you'll turn this machine on after you've placed the TNT block with the coral there, and it'll go forward and grab the TNT, and then it'll start duping it. So that's where I messed up at, basically. And as you can see, I totally messed up that whole thing there. I have to move it over a whole block. I figured that out at this point in time. So now I'm fixing that. Just goes to show when it's a first time build, it's going to take me a while. I'm not perfect. And I'm taking my time on this green wool because this was the hardest part of the entire build, for me anyway. So many different parts of this right here where I wanted to get it right the first time so I didn't have to go back through and do it again and again. And there's set so many different ways. That's why I took so many different pictures of all the redstone from above so I could tell exactly what it looked like. Now I'm double checking everything, making sure it's set up correctly, and I noticed I missed a green block with redstone on top of it down there. And I think that's about it. Then I get over here and I think I realized, this is where I realized that I messed up on this a little bit. It's all backwards. Yep. That's when I realized it was all backwards. I had to fix it. Alright, so everything seems to be in place. The circuitry seems to be done. I had to double check my pictures that I took of all these repeaters because I wanted to make sure I had that right. And obviously, as you'll see towards the end of the, you'll see that I had to come back over here and change these during the time lapse because I had them backwards. Okay, so the machine blowing up on me was actually a blessing in disguise because I decided to go ahead and look up a video on the TNT duper, and come to find out I was building it completely wrong. I mean, I was building it the way it's shown in the world that I've downloaded, but come to find out, basically you have to have this facing a certain direction, so I had to swap around the entire machine, which thank goodness this thing only took me like 25 to 30 minutes to build anyway. Went a lot faster the second time anyway because I already knew what I had to do from the pictures from making the previous version of it. But you want to be facing west when you're placing this down, or else you'll have problems with the minecart apparently, I guess. Apparently that's what the guy said in the video anyway. But basically those three slime blocks over there, you're going to place down that L-shaped slime block thing. You're going to place it on this first furnace with the coral already attached to it and the TNT attached to it. Then when you have this stuff placed down, so the fence post will be on top of the TNT when you place it basically, and then when you push that lever, after placing the minecart in the detector rail down, push the lever, and then it'll grab a hold of the TNT block, and then it starts duping it, which I guess makes sense. I thought maybe they'd fixed it or something, so I was kind of freaking out there. I was like, man, I just wasted all my time recording myself doing that. But nope, it was just me. So now we're going to test it out. So there you go. It's actually making the TNT. And as you can see, I built stairs on the way up here, and a little walkway around here with the diorite that I, well, basically used for the other machine. Alright, so I believe I have to place a block here first, and then we can just, yeah, then we can just hold down the right click. Okay. Yeah, so apparently it's kind of getting stuck every now and again, but I guess that's because of the lag I have here, I don't know, but I just do that to break it, reset it. Whoa. It's still much faster than the other method though. It might actually be that we're filling it up too fast too. I think we're just filling it up too fast. Alright, I'm gonna go down and check and see. But I'm pretty sure the ones I was having to break, like the powders I was having to break, they were just going into these chests as well. Yeah, so there's the concrete powders that I broke. That's why I guess he expanded the hoppers out this way, just in case that happens, because I guess it does happen sometimes. And got 8 there. So yeah, that's a lot faster than doing it the other way that I've been doing it. So we'll take those out and put those in here. But there's going to be no loss with this pretty much. The only problem will be that there will be some of the concrete still up there. Just because you have so much of an area of concrete coming down. Obviously we have it going to the distance the pistons can push down to the water. So 12 blocks down to the water, the water would be the 13th block. So, yeah. I don't know. I like it. It's a lot better than the other one. A lot more efficient. I can make concrete faster. Considering the lag point there, that's actually not too bad, considering that with the other one I'd have lag too. And that one right there was more annoying, because on that one, if I broke the concrete powder, and the powder fell down, it would fall to the floor. There was nothing to pick it up. Whereas here, I have the hoppers down below to catch the powder as it gets broken. Or I can just catch it myself. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next episode. The next episode, we are going to work on a water elevator to take us up to the tops, the treetops basically, of the trees that I place over there. So like the jungle trees and the spruce trees that I grow a lot of. I can get to the tops of them much easier. The other thing is going to be the honey farm. I haven't decided exactly where I'm going to put that. I think right over there beside the tree farm. Not exactly sure. I mean, we do have space here between the factory and the tree farm as well, but I don't know. I'll have to figure something out for that. The other thing is I'm going to be redesigning this building around this concrete machine, obviously. So I'll probably do that just before the next episode. Just saying, because it'll be a pretty quick build for this, I'm pretty sure. It's just going to be... well, it's just going to be iron blocks, I think, again, and maybe some glass. But I'm going to have to use steel lanterns just so we can light this area up on the top, because I don't want anything to spawn in here. But like I said, I'll catch you guys in the next episode.